It's really exciting, I think, that 2 songs from the Hunger Games soundtrack have been nominated for Grammys. I think that we can all agree that compilation or companion album that they did was, like, really brilliant. Like, I thought it was so well produced, and I really loved the array of artists represented. I think that they set the bar really high. So I have personally similar expectations for Catching Fire. I'm really looking forward to a fantastic soundtrack. Before we talk about what artists we'd like to see represented, do you guys think that they're going to do a similar thing and have a companion album? Like for the first film, we had songs from District 12 and beyond, and the songs, for the most part, were representative of District 12 and also the capital's control over the nation. What kind of theme do you think we might see in a Catching Fire companion album? And feel free to just jump in with whatever thoughts you guys have.
I have thoughts. Okay, so that means I'm going to talk now. Well, I've written about the Catching Fire soundtrack twice already, and I just put it in the hashtag. I have ideas for different artists that could partake, hopefully, fingers crossed. But considering, well, the first one was District 12 and beyond. I think they should take the cue from beyond and possibly explore different themes from different districts. I mean, if they get T-Bone Burnett back, which I really, really hope that they do, he's very good at finding artists or compiling older recordings of, I'm remembering, like, when he did the Oh Brother, Where Art Thou soundtrack, and he had these great spirituals or chain gang type songs that were being used or sung by African Americans or whatnot. It would be great if he could find spirituals, because I always think of District 11, as most people do, as a representation of antebellum South, of the antebellum South. So what music do you hear in antebellum South? And that is African spirituals or African American spirituals. So I would just love it if they I guess fixated on that or explored it more. And it would be great if they could find artists who they would tell them, okay, you're representing this district, and this is what their industry is, and this is possibly what area of the country that it takes place, and go explore what could possibly morph over the next 500 years, and go look at the past as well. But that's
I hope it happens, because I think that would be really incredible. I mean, I don't think it's, a secret that Suzanne Collins did write District 11 to have a lot of parallels with the antebellum South. And they talk a lot, well, not a lot, but they mention several times in the series about how singing and music is a huge part of District 11 culture. They sing songs when they're out working in the orchards and whatnot. So I think that would be so amazing if they would explore that a bit, like you suggested. And, I really do hope they do another companion album like they did and incorporate, like, all of the districts. Because, I mean, it makes sense for the first companion album to be just songs from District 12 and beyond, because the first movie is so, or the first book and movie are so centered around District 12, but because so much more of Pan Am is opened up in Catching Fire, I really think that would be amazing. Shylah, I know that you are a big District 4 fan. Would you like to see some music representing District 4 included?
Yes. I'm really supportive of having I'm trying to think of, like, I guess, wherever the place is in the U.S., I'm a little distressed right now because, like many people on the show, I always envision District 4 as being in, like, Mexico. And so now that movie canon has it up in the Pacific Northwest, I'm kind of a little thrown because I would love to have some classic, like, very Mexican music, or some very nice acoustic, very nice traditional Mexican sounds in that music, and I don't think we're going to get that now. But I think the companion album, if it uses what Rebekah was talking about and these very traditional songs from each region that they're going to be pulling victors from, that's very powerful to me. I have this headcanon about music and how it affects Panem, specifically regarding Katniss's father, and that when Peeta's father talks about, as soon as Mrs. Everdeen heard him sing, that it wasn't she was hearing his voice, it was the fact that Mr. Everdeen knew these songs from different regions, and that spoke of rebellion and of all of these things that kind of opened up a new world for her. So I think using music as a window into these other places can be really powerful, especially in the film, because you don't get a real sense of the music in the books outside of the lyrics.
I agree with everything that you just said. Ariel, do you have any thoughts on this? Do you think that would be a cool idea for them to kind of represent more districts in Panem on a companion album for Catching Fire?
Oh, absolutely. First of all, I think it would be great marketing for them, because then you have people having allegiances to their own districts and, wanting to use their songs as anthems. But I just think it would be very cool, because there's the United States, or the North American continent, is so diverse as far as culture goes, and they can really go with this as far as what we know of the music of a certain region, and then making it a little bit more maybe futuristic. I think that would be a really great opportunity. I don't know if they'll do it, but I'm pretty sure there's definitely going to at least be a companion album of some sort.
Adam, do you have any thoughts? I know, you're such a big music guy. I know that this is something that you're really interested in. What are your sort of kind of general feelings on the matter?
I'm excited for it. I think that I have a general view, and I'm not trying to make such blanket statements, but anything that's good for the Hunger Games as a series or promotes the film, I'm pretty much in favor of. And I think the musical aspect being recognized and being brought really more to the forefront only serves well to help the series and the movies. And I like it in particular in the case of this film, as has been alluded to by some of you, because music really does play such an important role in sort of shaping District 12 and the entire setting of Panem and the different districts. And that was one of the things that I really loved. I think I may have mentioned this a year ago when we were on the show, but I just absolutely love the fact that you had the way they came out with that CD of songs and called Songs from Around District 12. I just thought that was such a great way of encapsulating what we felt as fan sites, and also just to grasp the idea of this Appalachian, District 12, somewhat impoverished, but also a possibility of a potential for great creativity within these citizens who are downtrodden. And I'd love for certain songs and all of these things to be recognized. So in short, and I know that wasn't short, that was very entish, let me just say I'm in favor of this recognition, and I'm obviously pulling for it. Savanna, is there anything you wanted to add on the subject?
Yeah, my personal feelings, now that we've been discussing this, I really want a companion album that reflects many of the districts, not necessarily all, but 11, 4, 7, 3 would be kind of, oh my God, imagine music from District 3. I can just picture it. It would be electronica influence maybe. But yeah, I really, really want this, and I feel like we need to petition T-Bone Burnett or something. But anyway, so moving on to our Catching Fire companion album wish list, we've kind of talked about what we would like the theme and tone of the album to be, but what artists would we like to see featured? And actually, about a month ago, and I don't remember who sent us this question, but some listener, and I'm so sorry I did not write down your name, she asked us if we were going to handpick an artist, living or dead, to do an original song for the Catching Fire movie or the Catching Fire soundtrack, who would it be and why? So let's just go around the circle, and we can all say one or two artists that we would love to see featured. And if you want to mention a dead artist, since the question says living or dead, you can, but I'm going to go for living myself just because, you know, that's more realistic. Let's start with Courtney. What artists or artists would you love to see on the Catching Fire soundtrack? And feel free, if there are any that you want to return, go ahead and mention them too.
Well, I guess it's not a surprise what my answer will be, and it's Mumford & Sons, because that's what I wanted last time.
I knew it.
I just, like, they're the only band I really give a crap about right now. And I just when I first heard their first album, I was just like, it just reminds me of District 12. So for that, I hope that they do, but I don't know if they will, seeing how, I don't know if they're getting, like, just American bands to do it. But that's the only, like, band I specifically would want to do a certain one. But everything else on the last CD was a complete surprise, and I love that album, and it was so, I like the variations in style, and like we said before, like, I'm expecting them to do it again since it was so successful, and I would like to see, you know, centered on all the districts, since it's not just about District 12 as much as it was last time. So that's my answer.
I feel like so many fans really want Mumford & Sons represented that they should just freaking do it already. Like, everywhere you look, people are saying, like, oh my God, Mumford & Sons should be on the soundtrack. People were doing that for the first movie and now for the second movie. So if, I don't know, like T-Bone or whoever is in charge of that this year or for this movie, please just get Mumford & Sons to do a song. Shylah, how about you?
Well, I was going to say Mumford & Sons, but I guess I'll go down a different route. I guess if I had to think, you know, we pulled Taylor Swift in for the first movie because I guess they needed a huge name. So I would think if I had to pick an artist to maybe do a headlining song or a theme song for the movie, I would love to have Jennifer Hudson on the soundtrack. Ooh. I love her voice, and I feel like she could do something really soulful and powerful for Catching Fire.
Oh, my gosh. Yes, I love her as well. Oh, I guess we'll go ahead and go to, I'll save Rebekah for last because I know she has a lot to say. Crystal, are you back with us? I'll just check in.
Back, sorry. Oh, my cheek is pressing buttons, sorry.
Is there an artist or are there several artists that you would really like to see represented on the Catching Fire soundtrack?
Yes, I actually wanted to, for the first soundtrack, to have either Dave Matthews Band or Tori Amos on the soundtrack. I really liked their music, so I wanted them, and I thought they would have fit really well, so that's my pick.
Yeah, I think I talked to you about that before. I would love Dave Matthews or Dave Matthews Band, either him or him and his band. Like, I think he's amazing, and I feel like I think he's a really amazing lyricist, and I just think he could come up with something that was really beautiful. Oh, I feel like none of this is going to happen, but Ariel, what about you?
Maybe it's just because I'm multitasking and going through my iTunes at the moment, but I would love, this might be a big dream, but I would love to hear Adele do something for the soundtrack, because her voice, like, it moves me. I don't care actually what she's saying, but the way her voice sounds is so soulful and, like, I don't know, it reminds me of caramel. And I think that would just be wonderful to represent, like, Katniss, like her strength or something. I think she'd make a wonderful addition to a soundtrack.
Well, maybe if they don't get her for Catching Fire, she can be part of the Mockingjay soundtrack and do some sort of cover of The Hanging Tree, and it'll turn into this, like, amazing, sad ballad. I don't know. Adam, what about you? Is there anyone you would love to see represented? I know, like, what you were telling me, you want to see One Direction do a song.
I don't know who pointed you in that direction, Savanna. That's one direction you could go in. No, I would say since you said we can invoke our graveyard privileges and pull someone or some groups from the dead, maybe I'm just feeling a little bit nostalgic, having gone to Strawberry Fields and commemorated John Lennon's death yesterday. But I think it would be amazing if you could have the Beatles put together a song for the soundtrack. Imagine having like Paul McCartney and John Lennon's creativity, and then you throw in, let George Harrison sort of write maybe like the break or the bridge of the song, and then get Ringo on drums. I think that would be awesome. But I'll say this. I know this is, if we're talking about live bands, I know this is predictable. I know this is what everybody thinks should be in it, and that I'm copying Courtney. But I just have to say, I mean, Mumford & Sons just seems like they were destined to do a Hunger Games film. Their sound is so perfect for what this covers. So, Courtney, I mean, I don't mean to roll away your stone, but I think I'm going to have to go with Mumford & Sons.
We've all been talking about Mumford & Sons for over a year now, so we're all on board. Just make it happen.
Oh. Rebekah, what about you?
I have too many ideas. It's like trying to pick my favorite child, and I don't even have any children. But I think, Savanna, you and I had this idea, or maybe I had this idea, and then I told you about it, and I think you started to virtually scream. But
yes,
Hanson. I know everyone still thinks of them as, you know, the 13-year-old boys with the high voices from 1997, but how old are they now? I think
like
33.
Yeah.
33. No, he's not 30 yet. He's only like 2 weeks older than me. Remember this? Because why would I don't need to remember this, but I do. I remember one of the band members is only 2 weeks older than me, because this is the thing that you fixate on when you're 14. 29 and 27. They're all married. They all have kids. They have their own record company. They left their previous record company because they were treated very, very, very badly. In fact, there's a documentary that they made about it. But Hanson, I love them. I know most people consider them to be extremely poppy, but one of the more interesting things that they've done, or they continue to do, is they make these EPs for their fan club exclusively. I'm not a member of it. I know I'm a horrible fan. Not a member of their stupid fan club, but they're so like some of their songs are extremely dark, and they really love to do acoustic stuff, but these people who have been writing music since they were like 6 years old. In fact, this year they're coming up to this is their 20th year of being a band. 20 years.
Wow.
That's more than most bands that we've been naming off this whole night. I mean, 20 years being together as a band, and if you just listen to their music, they're very professional, they're very soulful. Their bass is in Motown and soul and R&B, and they're from Oklahoma, so they have like the country bass. They can pretty much do anything that they're asked to do.
For me, I don't know. I've seen a lot of people saying that they would love Taylor Swift to return, but I kind of hope that they don't bring anyone back, even though, I am obsessed with Wordy. I think she is amazing. I would love to see another Wordy song. I actually think that the song that she did for the Hunger Games soundtrack is, like, so underrated. I think it's by far the best song on that album. I'm shocked that it didn't get more, like, recognition in the media. Like, it's freaking incredible. But as much as I would love, like, Wordy to do another song, I kind of think it would be cool if they did just all new artists. I don't know who I love Ryan Adams. Like, I think I talked to Rebekah or someone about this.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Ryan Adams, I think would. Yeah, like, I think he is amazing. I think he would be a really great choice. I don't really have anyone else in mind. I did just discover the Lumineers, and I think they could probably come up with something really awesome.
I agree.
Yeah,
I could see them easily like doing that.
Yeah, and it might just be because I literally like just started listening to their music a couple of days ago, but I'm like kind of obsessed with them right now. I don't know if I can think of anyone else that I'd really be interested in hearing. I mean, there are so many people. I don't know if I can just pick one.